Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Liam, and this is Grammar Simple, the channel that makes English grammar simple. Okay, let's talk about predictions today. Will, may, might, will not, may not, might not, and many other more advanced expressions to do with predictions. Certain predictions, or definite predictions, and uncertain predictions, or indefinite predictions, and everything in between. So if you want to learn English grammar, stay tuned. All right, so this is an advanced English lesson today. Future forms, predictions. And this is going to be part one of a two-part video about predictions. I have so many things to talk about today. The video is going to be long as it is, so I have broken up the video into two videos. You will see the next one coming soon, so stay tuned for that. All right, let's begin. So let's first go over a brief outline about what we are going to talk about today. Predictions that are certain or definite, predictions that are not certain or uncertain or indefinite, positive predictions, so optimistic predictions, and predictions that are based on conditions, so conditionals. And in part one of this two-part video, we are going to focus on the first two, predictions that are certain and predictions that are not certain. In part two of the video, coming soon, we will talk about positive predictions or optimistic predictions and predictions based on conditions. Okay, first let's focus on predictions that are certain, definite predictions. Most commonly, we use will to talk about definite predictions. This is, by and large, the most common way to make predictions. However, it is a little bit boring, and as an advanced student, you should learn other expressions and other ways to say the same thing or similar things, so that you are not only repeating the word will all the time. So will is used to make a prediction that is definite, and will is used when we believe or know an event is certain to happen. It will happen. So this first part is kind of a review from more intermediate levels or even pre-intermediate levels, but it is the most common way to make predictions, so just keep that in mind. You can never go wrong using will. For example, due to inflation, the cost of living will continue to rise. I will continue to get older, sadly. And so will you. It's too bad. Access to the internet will continue to expand around the world. If you noticed, the words will continue were used in the previous examples. This is a very common collocation, will continue. And what is a collocation? Well, a collocation is a type of lexicon speak for words that frequently go together. So you can think of collocations as word friends. You know, friends hang out. These are what collocations do in English. So will continue is a very common set of words that go together frequently. See if you can spot other collocations in this presentation after you learn the grammar, of course. So maybe watch the video a second time for collocations, and you can write them down in the chat. The sun will not burn out for millions of years. So here I used a negative. And what is another way to say will not? You can use won't. However, this being an advanced lesson, many of you are studying to go to university in English. I am not using informal writing or informal language in this presentation. I'm only using formal. So will not is formal. Won't is informal. We can also make predictions more certain or less certain by using adverbs and certain expressions. It is plus adjective plus a that clause. I'll show you some examples in a moment. Another expression, there is plus a noun phrase plus a that clause. First, let's take a look at adverbs. Use adverbs such as definitely or definitely not, probably or probably not, certainly, certainly not, with modifiers such as quite, almost, etc. So the normal sentence with will as the most common way to make a prediction, the cost of living will continue to rise. How do I say this if I want to be even more certain? I'm very, very, very certain. The cost of living will definitely continue to rise. And if I want to be even more certain than that, I can say the cost of living will quite definitely continue to rise. In this example, if I use quite, this word is used for more emphasis, more power. I will continue to get older. I'm okay with it. I certainly won't get younger. That's for sure. Impossible. Unless I get a time machine. Please build me a time machine. Internet use will continue to expand around the world. Internet use will probably continue to expand around the world. So is this example more certain or less certain than the sentence on the left? It is less certain. So internet use will continue. Internet use will probably continue. Internet use will definitely continue. And I believe certainly is in between will and definitely. Definitely is 100% certain. Certainly is very close, and then will by itself is a little bit below, and then probably is below that. Another example, the sun will not burn out for millions of years. The sun will certainly not burn out for millions of years. So here I used a negative, not, and almost certainly not. So again, another modifier. It's certainly, almost certainly, a little bit below. You can use quite certainly as well. Okay, let's look at it is plus adjective plus that clause. So different adjectives can go in the space, and the adjectives can be positive or negative, certain, uncertain, likely, unlikely, probable, improbable, possible, impossible. It is certain that, it is uncertain that, it is likely that, it is probable that, it is possible that. You get the idea. Let's look at some examples. First, let's look at certain. It is certain that inflation will continue to increase the cost of living. What about likely and unlikely? Well, the adjective is different than certain, right? The meaning is different. Certain is certain, 100%. Likely, not certain. So maybe 75%. It is unlikely that internet use will stop expanding anytime soon. So this is another way to say the same thing, right? It is likely that internet use will continue to expand. It is unlikely that internet use will stop expanding. It's the same meaning. Let's look at probable and improbable. Unless there is a scientific miracle in the near future, it is improbable that I will live to be 150 years old. Unfortunately. Yeah. Improbable. So, do you know probably? Probably is the adverb of probable. Probable is an adjective. So improbable means not likely to happen, not likely. Very similar to unlikely or not likely. And probable is very similar to likely. Let's look at possible and impossible. Now, of course, possible means it may happen or could happen, and impossible means it can't happen. It's not possible. However, it is possible that I will live to be 100 years old if I continue to exercise and eat a healthy diet. But I love ice cream and wine. Okay, there is plus noun phrase plus that clause. For example, there is a strong chance that. There is a great likelihood that. So likely, unlikely, likelihood is a noun, likelihood. And a great likelihood is a noun phrase. There is a large probability that. There is a good possibility that. So these are all noun phrases with there is, and let's look at some examples with that clauses. But first, I just want to show you the adjectives on the left and the nouns on the right. Now, in the examples on the previous slide, I showed strong chance, great likelihood, large probability, good possibility, and you can use many different adjectives with nouns. In fact, in my opinion, all of these adjectives can go with all of the nouns. So you can say strong chance, strong likelihood, strong probability, strong possibility, great chance, great likelihood, great probability, etc., etc., etc. They are quite similar, most of them, but there are little differences. So for example, strong is greater than good. Great is greater than good. Large and good might be similar, and great and large might be similar as well. English is confusing and crazy. I know. So let's look at some examples with there is a strong chance that. There is a strong chance that inflation will continue to raise the cost of living. So a strong chance. What percentage do you think this is? 50%, 10%, 90%? There is a strong chance. So a chance would be maybe 50-50, 50%. A strong chance, I would say, is 75, 80%, something like that. Okay, there is a great likelihood that. There is a great likelihood that science-based medicine will continue to cure many diseases. A great likelihood. So a likelihood is similar to a chance, but maybe a little bit more than a chance. It's chance plus a little bit likely. So maybe 60%. So a great likelihood might be 75, 80, 90%. It depends on other statements the writer gives or other arguments, statistics, evidence, things like that. Okay, there is a large probability that. There is a large probability that Apple will continue to dominate the smartphone market. So a large probability. Probabilities are low or high? Probabilities are high. It's probable, probably going to happen. And a large probability would be almost certainty. 85%, 90%, 95%. Quite certain. Okay, there is a good possibility. There is a good possibility that e-readers will eventually replace paper books. So, possibility could be 30%, maybe up to 50%. And a good possibility means it's a strong possibility. And this could be 50%, anything between, I would say, 40% and 60%, something like that. However, I hope this doesn't happen because I love books. There's nothing like the smell of a book, in my opinion, especially a used book. Maybe I'm crazy, probably. That's why I teach English. All right, let's look at another expression, bound to. Be plus bound to plus an action verb, do, in a general sense, or be, a state verb. So use be plus bound to plus do or be to describe something that will definitely happen or definitely not happen in the future. So these are certain. Certain positive or certain negative. For example, there is bound to be an increase in worldwide internet access in the future. And we have our be verb, is, bound to, and another be verb. And notice that after the second be verb, we usually put a noun phrase, an increase in worldwide internet access in the future, an increase. It's not common to use a verb after this. It's much more common to use a noun. There is bound to be an increase. There is bound to be a rise. There is bound to be a fall. There is bound to be an investment. Things like that. Nouns. And what about this old sentence that we used at the beginning? There will be an increase in worldwide internet access in the future. Are these sentences the same or different? What do you think? They are the same. The meaning is the same. It's a different way to say the same thing. Remember that I said will can be repetitive and boring. In advanced English, we want to avoid repetition. See my video on ellipsis or avoiding repetition, for example. And we often use synonyms and synonym expressions to show that we have a larger vocabulary and to make our ideas more interesting and engaging for readers or listeners. Another example, Canada's population is bound to rise in the coming years. Okay, so in this example, I didn't use bound to be, I used bound to do, but I didn't use do, a general action verb. I replaced it with a specific action verb, rise. And of course, there is our be verb, and there is our do verb, an action verb. So what do you think? Canada's population will rise in the coming years? Is it the same? Yes, it is the same. Okay, another one, be likely to, do or be. Use be likely to, do or be to describe something that is probable or improbable. So bound to is certain or uncertain. Likely to is probable or improbable. So probably going to happen or probably not going to happen. Canada's population isn't likely to fall in the coming years. On the contrary, most experts believe it is bound to increase. So here I used both of the previous expressions. So it is not likely to fall. On the other hand, it is bound to increase. So the possibility that it will fall is very, very low, but the probability that it will increase is very, very high, very certain. Due to current economic uncertainty, the stock market is likely to remain unstable for the foreseeable future, unfortunately. Okay, let's look at modal verbs, may, might, could. Use may, might, or could to make predictions about things you are not certain about. When you are not sure what will happen in the future. And we do not use can in this way. So don't use can, use could. For example, economic uncertainty may continue to hinder stock market growth. What does hinder mean? Hinder means slow down or disrupt, make inefficient, not efficient. Economic uncertainty may continue to hinder stock market growth. So may and might, these are the same thing. You can say both, and you can also say could. I think these all mean basically the same thing. It means it's possible. It's possible. And if I say economic uncertainty can continue to hinder stock market growth, this is not a prediction. I wouldn't say this. Use could. Could means future. Okay, guys, that's the end of part 1. Please stay tuned for part 2 coming soon. And thank you for watching. Write your questions and comments in the comments section. Don't forget, please like and subscribe to this video. It really helps my small channel grow and reach new English learners around the world. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Liam, and once again, this is Grammar Simple, the channel that makes English grammar simple. I will talk to you soon. Okay, bye.